I must confess that every year I look at Lucknow Super Giants and I say, can they? In the very first year, the team was very well balanced. It was a typical Gautam Gambhir kind of side, options everywhere. And they made the playoffs, and they made the playoffs again. But the one thing that will worry them is they've not been in a final, they've not won an IPL. But I think in your first 2 years, if you make 2 playoffs, that is a wonderful result. Do they have that, for want of a better expression, that X-factor player who will turn up on the big day and say, right, I'm going to win it for you? I'm not so sure. Maybe Nicholas Pooran will be that player. But there's a few changes happening to LSG, which we'll talk about as we go along. There are 2 issues last year. The middle order didn't score enough runs. And there was a huge skew between playing at home and playing away. A lot of their best players, whether it was Quinton de Kock, whether it was Nicholas Pooran, had very strange home and away skews. They hardly scored at 106, 107 strike rates. The averages were in the teens. The moment they moved out of Lucknow, they were like, wow, we want to go and play here. So that to me is going to be the first factor when you look at Lucknow this year. Is the track going to be the kind of track they want? And if it's still going to be a low-scoring surface, how are they going to adapt and get that middle-order core to keep scoring runs for them? So that's the first issue. The second, they were not taking enough wickets with the new ball. And so towards that end, they traded Avesh Khan, which I found a bit surprising. They let go Daniel Sams, they let go Jaydev Unadkat, but it's not like they've addressed that. It's not like they've got some wow new ball bowlers coming in. So that is something they'll have to live with. The 2 changes this year for Lucknow Super Giants. Let's go with the coach first. They've gone with Justin Langer. I can understand. Maybe that was Gautam Gambhir's parting gift to LSG. Gautam and Justin Langer, similar kind of people, both very emotional, both tough fighters. You can see why they would have wanted someone like Justin Langer. But I know Justin Langer quite well. He's a very emotional, very passionate person. He comes hard. He's very, very Aussie. Now, can he maintain that emotion and that intensity with a team he's not been part of for 14 games? Because that IPL is a grueling tournament. So that will be a big test for Justin Langer. He enjoys the game. He'll enjoy working with the younger players. But I just want to see if he can sustain that passion over 14 games. The second is the big change. KL Rahul wants to now forge a career in all forms of the game in the middle order. Rahul, when he was playing the new ball, was a bank. Though sometimes I only wish he'd let himself loose a little bit and got those 25, 30 ball 50s that he's so perfectly capable of getting. But that was the other factor for LSG last year. And that actually showed them in good light. The fact that they lost KL Rahul midway through and still made the playoffs. But now that Rahul wants to play in the middle order and he's auditioning for a place at the T20 World Cup in a different role, in a role where there's a lot of competition, where there's Sanju Samson, Dhruv Jurel, we don't know about Rishabh Pant, there's Ishan Kishan, there's Jitesh Sharma. So where will he bat in the middle order? I think he's looking at number 4 for LSG. And I think he slots in pretty well. So if he has to do that, let's see how the team now figures out. Devdutt Padikkal, I think, is a very good swap, and you can see why they got Devdutt Padikkal in, because KL Rahul is going down the order. Now, he looks a wow player. I was very impressed with the way he looked free in his test match debut, but he strikes at about sort of mid-120s. I'd like to see Justin Langer release Devdutt Padikkal and say, I want you to strike at 140 because you have the shots to continuously strike at 140. Now, who opens with him? Ideally, you'd say Quinton de Kock. I mean, he's been a fabulous white ball player, but he's just sort of iffy in form. In fact, at the SA20, he even dropped down the order, which is always a worrisome sign. So maybe you start with Quinton de Kock or you go with Kyle Mayers. Don't know what Kyle Mayers' recent form is, but he started off the IPL very well last year, kept de Kock out for a while. He'll give you 2 overs at the start. So either de Kock or Mayers opening with Devdutt Padikkal. That gives you 2 left-handers already. Now ideally you want a right-hander coming in at number 3. Does KL Rahul want to bat at number 3? I'm not sure. Nicholas Pooran is a good number 3. That makes it 3 left-handers. And so I'm actually going to see if they can release the stroke player in Marcus Stoinis and have him bat at number 3 and say, look, you're a powerful batter, and just whisper, Mitch Marsh is a better player than you in his years, and then let's see if he can go and bat at number 3. So I've got Stoinis at 3, I've got KL Rahul at 4, I've got Nicholas Pooran at 5. they need another batter, and they've already gone through 3 overseas players, and that is either Deepak Hooda or Ayush Badoni. Ayush Badoni, after he made all of us look at him when we first saw him in Mumbai, has been sort of middling. It doesn't help that he plays for Delhi, where there's always turmoil in domestic cricket. I think they played 26, 27 players in their Ranji Trophy side this year. I won't be surprised if they play 30, 35. No one knows what happens in Delhi. So you just cut him a little bit of slack, Ayush Badoni. So I think he'll be good at 6. Deepak Hooda had a horror season last year, but in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, sort of averaging 60, scored at a strike rate greater than 100. So maybe one of those 2 in 6, the other probably becomes the impact sub. So that's their top 6. I think Krunal Pandya, he batted up the order a lot. He still strikes about 120. So that might be a bit of an issue. Maybe they'll want a left-hander to go up and down depending on the situation. But this is a make or break season for Krunal Pandya. He needs to have a big season to have a long future in the IPL. So that's my top 7. Now I need 4 bowlers, 3 seamers and a spinner. The spinner is very easy. No spinner has stole the national selectors more strongly than Ravi Bishnoi to look at him and say, I must be in that side. He comes in early, he takes wickets through the middle overs, and he's very good bowling at the death. Bowled a super over for India as well. And his numbers this year are fantastic. So Ravi Bishnoi is going to be a big part of LSG's fortunes this year. Then the 3 fast bowlers. That, as we said, is a problem. If Mohsin Khan can come back and deliver on the promise that he showed in the IPL a couple of years ago, that'll make a big difference. But Mohsin Khan, in the last 2 years, has only played 11 games. He had that horrific injury. Don't want anyone to have that injury, but he only played 5 games last season. His fitness is always under a cloud. But if he's playing well, then he is there. Now they went and paid a bit of money for Shivam Mavi, and I've always rated Shivam Mavi. I've always wondered why teams don't use him enough. I don't think he played much last year at all. He can give you runs at 8. He goes for runs, but he's an aggressive attacking bowler who can also give you wickets. I've got Shivam Mavi in my side, maybe batting at number 8, and then the overseas fast bowler. They like Naveen ul Haq. He's just about medium pace. He goes a little over medium pace sometimes on the slowish surfaces. If they are in Lucknow, he'll be handy. There'll be a slowish surface in Chennai. You never know. In Jaipur, Kolkata is a bit iffy, so they might want to use him. But I'd like to unleash Shamar Joseph early on. He hardly played T20 cricket, but he can release that ball. He's a quick bowler. So I'll start off with Shamar Joseph, but Shamar Joseph or Naveen ul Haq depending on the conditions, and then the impact sub would be either Deepak Hooda or Ayush Badoni. So that's what it is with Lucknow Super Giants. Do they have it in them to qualify one more year? I'm not completely convinced. I think a lot would depend on the form of Nicholas Pooran, on how KL Rahul handles that side, how he's batting at 4, how he's keeping, and if they can get their seam bowlers to come and deliver. I'm a little iffy about LSG. In my mind, maybe 4th, 5th, that kind. But come on, LSG, come and surprise us again.